Hey everybody, once again it's Fury time, and I know I complain about pubbies doing this, but I just took one look at this team and I couldn't stop myself. This is after a string of really bad games in the Fury, and I was not really in the mood to put up with having this team. So I figure I'm going to have to do a lot of the work here, if not all of it. I head towards the city. I would like to get some hull down shots from the hillside, but it would be risking my hit points to do it, and so I just don't bother. Already you can see we've got a light, 3 mediums, a tank destroyer as well, all heading to the spot at E0, or the K line, and then up the 0 line towards E0. A useless spot. The most useless spot on the entire map. We've also got heavies hiding in back behind their mediums, which seems to be a hallmark of bad heavy players. They will use mediums as meat shields while hiding as far away from the enemy as possible and not doing damage. First thing I spot's a Wolverine. Thankfully he's really bad at shooting, so he doesn't get a hit on me yet. And then when he finally does, it ends up bouncing. That gaggle of tanks down south is positioned in such a way as they can't help town at all. All they can actually render from there at the moment is the T-40, and I handled him myself. Now, the Churchill is a big problem. I can pen him fairly easily, but he has just awfully high DPM to be facing up against. He can vomit out shells faster than I can. His might not do as much damage as mine, but they add up. And so now half my hit points are missing already because I ran into that Churchill. The only saving grace of this situation is that he's more or less alone. The other Churchill isn't supporting him, and the enemy Cromwell is making a run for their own cap for some reason. If I keep fighting this way, the Churchill's going to win simply by having more hit points. And so I pull back and wait for my team to move in. Even if they can't put damage on him, which they should be able to with the T-34, I just need somebody to take hits that isn't me. He begins turning to come around the corner, and I'm able to track him on it. And that's the end of him. Sure enough, the T-34 gets a shot in before Churchill takes him out. At the moment, we're trading fairly well. 7 kills to 5. A lot better than I expected from this team. My group down south is largely being useless, and more surprisingly, most of them have lost hit points, but the group up north seem to be at least pulling their weight. Cromwell gets a shot in there, very nearly kills me, and able to withdraw around the corner just in time, and actually the guys across the valley do manage to kill him. Now they sort of had opportunity shots across the valley at both the Cromwell, and there's also that Sherman down there. So they did have targets to shoot at eventually, but I will still quite definitively say that the 0 line is a useless position for everything except light tanks and maybe one medium. You don't need 4 tanks there. You certainly don't need tank destroyers there. The reason being that they can only render into about E6, E5 at the absolute furthest, but then there's buildings blocking them anyway, so they can't get shots into town. Very rarely do the enemy go heavy valley, and very rarely do they send many mediums up through the zero line. And even if they do send a lot of mediums zero line, you can counter them from the city, and then you have the cover advantage. They do not. So city is a much stronger position. I'm not sure what this enemy T1 was thinking. He probably thought he had a great flank on those guys until I turned up. But actually, my team has managed to pull through somehow. We've only got 2 tanks left up north, plus myself in city, but the guys that went through the south are still mostly alive. The M4 bought it there at the end, but we've got enough tanks to finish this off with a win. Very surprisingly. I was expecting the enemy T-67s to get a little bit more work done than that. Then again, I was expecting my team to fold in half in the first 30 seconds. They didn't do that either. Anyway, thanks for watching. I think this match really showed that even sometimes if you do get fucked by matchmaker, it's not always not all over. In this case, it was me that was the puppy shitlord, ragging on his team at the start of the match. But when you just look at the team tab and see a wall of red, I mean, most of these guys couldn't even pull a 48% win rate, let alone 50 or over, so it doesn't really have a good effect on you to see that. No doubt the enemy T-67s had something similar going on, but at least there were 2 of them and not just one lone outpost. But sometimes puppies with bad stats do actually play well, particularly my team. A lot of them are new players, and so even though they may have bad stats, they're not immune to learning. It's only when you see people with like 10,000 battles and rubbish stats that you know that they're a lost cause. They're completely beyond help. New players usually will at least be open to some kind of learning. Thanks for watching. As ever, there'll be plenty more of this on this channel, and I'll see you next time. Best of luck in the field.